Alright, so I just want to give a real quick overview of the back end of WordPress. So this is just an example site here in LibreWit. This is an e-commerce site, but you can see that there's a couple product pages here. But the same software can work for a non-e-commerce site. Because in your case, we're just going to link over to the ACE site. But let's take a look. So the first thing on this is the header at the top. So on many different platforms, WordPress included, the headers kind of have their own place in terms of where they're laid out and what is contained in here. So if I go to the back end, I would go down to Appearance and Menus, and that will allow me to change what links appear here at the top. Alright, so you can see all these are the different pages that are on this site, and then I just can click one and hit Add the Menu. And then these things, you drag them and drop them in there. And then you hit Save. So that's kind of how you would update or make changes to the menu. Now, how this is laid out in terms of like, oh, the logo is here, and the menu's here, and these items are over here, that is under Theme Options for top bar and header. So I tend to use, on a lot of sites, a combination of a theme that's called The7, which is very customizable. So you can see there's a variety of different layouts that we can use where the logos are at the top, or they're at the center, there's all these different options. And you can see there's a lot of, do we want things centered, justified? There's a lot of different configurations. And your header does have a lot of information in it, whereas some sites it's just a logo, a few links, and a button. Yours does have more info. So you can see these micro widgets are like these little things you can drag, like the button and the cart, into certain positions. So I really love the 7 theme for customizing that. Now when it comes to the actual pages of content, right, so that's everything below the header. So let's hide this. So like everything below the header, all of these pages, all of these rows, all this content, I use something called, let's close out of the back end here. I use something called BeaverBuilder. There's different tools. I have vetted a lot of different tools over the years, and BeaverBuilder is it's the best for laying out pages and content. So like if I want to change the text here, I can click on it, I can go in, I can change things however I want, hit save. All of the settings for fonts are in here. Right, so a lot of that info, and you can see it's like rows and columns. This is laid out in rows. These would be 2 columns. This is 2 columns, 2 columns, 2 columns. This one's 1 column, 1 column. This is 1 image that has side by side. What I love about using this with the rows and columns is you can see up here if I go to responsive editing. Now, on a tablet, it stacks, and then on a cell phone, it stacks nice. So you can see these things very easily. And then, also as far as adding and removing, reload the back end in like that. So when you go to add content, you can add rows, you have these different modules, and you drag and drop. There's a little bit of a learning curve, and there are a lot of things to configure. So for example, margins and padding, and this is like the space around the outside of something. Adding like borders and padding to style things. So it gets a little bit complicated. Then if you move to, all right, do the same thing for a tablet, do the same thing for a cell phone, you can see it sort of gets complicated, but it's all right here. You know what I mean? Like if I want to go in and change these different layouts, like I can look at it, I can change it and have it all happen in real time. So so it's not just having WordPress, it's having WordPress plus the right theme and the right page building. And this is the WordPress dashboard. There's a lot of info here that you don't even necessarily need. Like you don't need to draft a blog post, you don't need their news and events. This is okay. It just shows you what your site is. 15 pages, what theme it's running. Yoast SEO is a tool I use for helping search engine optimization. WooCommerce, you don't need to worry about that. That's for e-commerce. But if you did one day want to include e-commerce, you could add that on, but we don't need to deal about it. Yeah, over here, the main thing you're going to deal with is pages. Yeah. So these are all the different pages that you have on your site. If you wanted to add a new one, you go to Add New. If you want to edit one, you can go and go to the BeaverBuilder. For example, if you want to edit like the properties of a page, there's a page to do that. Or things like, for example, what's the link? What's the URL, right? So this is Liberlite/migraine desk link. Okay? You can change those kinds of properties. A featured image. If somebody shares this page on Facebook, what's the image that shows up when they share it? There's like these properties that you can configure, and then there's also the page builder, right? So if I go to launch page builder, this is where we're going to see, laying out rows and columns and text and, different content that goes on the actual page. Yeah, that's a brief overview of WordPress. Okay, hope that's helpful to you.